He's had one of the great runs in all of show business, and tonight a very important member of our family says goodbye to the Tonight Show audience for the very last time. Jay Leno is signing off after 22 years.
Jay Leno has been the unbreakable Iron Man of television for over 40 years, surviving cancel culture, network wars, and even literal fires. But moments ago, the legendary host went off script in a way that terrified his publicists. While his team reportedly begged him to cut the feed, Jay looked into the lens and revealed a health reality so personal it shatters the image of the invulnerable comic we all know. This isn't just a retirement announcement, it is a confession that changes everything about his past, his future, and the $100 million empire sitting in his Burbank garage. Breaking the Iron Man myth. Jay Leno has always been the guy who shows up. For 40 years, through network feuds, changing times, and personal tragedies, he remained the most reliable figure in Hollywood. But just moments ago, that reliability took a shocking turn. In a broadcast that sources say his management team actively tried to delay or edit, Jay Leno sat in his famous garage and revealed a detail about his health that destroys the tough guy image he has built his entire life. The atmosphere was heavy, lacking his usual quick-fire delivery or signature chin-leading grin. Instead, viewers saw a man who looked tired. Not just sleepy, but soul-tired. But here is the catch. This wasn't just a "I am retiring" speech. We have heard rumors of him slowing down before, and he always bounced back. This time, Jay dropped a specific detail about his condition following his recent string of accidents that explains why he has been vanishing from the public eye. He admitted that the physical trauma from the fire and the motorcycle crash did more than just break bones. It fundamentally altered his ability to function at the level he demands of himself. His team reportedly feared that admitting this weakness would hurt his brand or his insurance standing for future shows, but Jay didn't care. He looked right at the camera and said, "You can work your whole life trying to make people laugh, but eventually you have to face the silence." That line sent chills through the industry. Everyone is obsessed with the idea that Jay is a machine, a guy who doesn't need sleep and heals like Wolverine. But what most people don't realize is that behind the scenes, the last 12 months have been a living nightmare for the comedian. He revealed that his mobility has been compromised in ways he can no longer disguise with clever editing or sitting behind a desk. The nerves, the stamina, the dexterity needed to work on his beloved cars, it is all fading. And for a man whose entire identity is built on doing, the admission of not being able to do is the most serious revelation possible. It is not that simple, though. This isn't just about a bad back or stiff knees. Jay hinted at a diagnosis that makes every day a battle against his own body. He mentioned that his doctors have given him an ultimatum: stop now or risk permanent, catastrophic damage. This explains why his team was so nervous. In the high-stakes world of entertainment, admitting you are physically comprised is often seen as the end. But Jay, in true fashion, beat the tabloids to the punch. He controlled the narrative, even if it meant breaking the hearts of millions of fans who grew up watching him every night. The crazy part is the timing. Jay has always said he would die on stage, that he would never quit. So for him to suddenly pivot and say, "It is time to let go," suggests that the situation is far more urgent than a standard retirement. He is not planning a farewell tour. He is not doing a final season. He is stopping, right now. This immediacy is what has everyone worried. It implies that the detail he shared, the reality of his physical limitations, is advancing faster than he anticipated. The garage, his sanctuary, is no longer just a playground. It has become a reminder of what he is losing. Jay Leno is finally facing a battle he cannot joke his way out of. The body keep the score. To understand why this announcement is so earth-shattering, you have to look at the brutal sequence of events that led us here. In late 2022, Jay was working on a vintage steam car when a fuel line ruptured, spraying him with gasoline that instantly ignited. He suffered third-degree burns across his face, chest, and hands. Most people would be in the hospital for months. Jay was back on stage doing stand-up at the Comedy and Magic Club in Hermosa Beach within 10 days. Everyone cheered. They called him a beast. They said he was unstoppable. But looking back, that might have been the biggest mistake of his life. Basically, he never gave himself time to heal. He treated a life-threatening injury like a bad haircut, something to just ignore and move on from. But the body keeps the score. Just weeks after the fire, while his skin was still grafting and healing, Jay was knocked off his motorcycle, fracturing his collarbone, 2 ribs, and cracking his kneecaps. Again, he laughed it off. He made jokes about being a crash test dummy. But insiders say Mavis, his wife of over 40 years, was terrified. She saw what the cameras didn't: the sleepless nights, the chronic pain, and the mental toll of realizing you are not invincible. And get this, the detail Jay revealed today connects directly back to those accidents. It appears the cumulative trauma did something to his nervous system. Reports suggest he has been dealing with issues that affect his balance and fine motor skills, the 2 things a mechanic needs most. Imagine spending your whole life restoring cars, using your hands to bring history back to life, and suddenly your hands won't listen to you. That is the tragedy Jay has been hiding. It is not just pain, it is a loss of function. The team around him tried to mask it. They set up shots where he didn't have to walk far. They edited around the moments where his hands shook. They wanted to keep the Jay Leno's Garage brand profitable and active. But Jay, being the honest pragmatist he is, couldn't live the lie anymore. He told the audience that the recovery was harder than he let on. He admitted that the tough guy act was partly for the fans, but mostly because he was scared. Scared that if he stopped moving, he would never start again. This context makes his sudden announcement tragic. It paints a picture of a man who pushed himself to the brink, driven by a work ethic that eventually turned against him. He was trying to outrun his age, outrun the trauma, and outrun the silence. But the motorcycle crash forced him to stop, and in that stillness, the reality caught up. He realized that the show must go on mentality was actually hurting him. There is also a psychological layer here. Jay has always been the guy who helps others, stopping on the freeway to help stranded motorists, funding scholarships. He hates being the one who needs help. Admitting that he is physically struggling is a complete reversal of his role in the universe. It is a moment of extreme vulnerability for a man who has spent decades armored in denim and jokes. The revelation that his body is failing him is the one punchline he cannot deliver with a smile. But the physical toll is only half of the story behind his sudden exit. A legacy on the auction block. So here is the deal. When Jay said he was letting go, he didn't just mean the microphone, he meant the cars. And that is the part that has car enthusiasts and collectors in a total tailspin. Jay Leno's Garage is not just a collection, it is a museum of automotive history worth estimated over $100 million. It holds cars that don't exist anywhere else in the world. For decades, Jay has said he would never sell. He buys, he restores, he keeps. He is a hoarder of history, but in this shocking broadcast, Jay revealed he is dismantling the collection. He is donating a massive portion of it to museums, trade schools, and foundations. This confirms the severity of his condition. You don't give away your life's work unless you know you can no longer care for it. He said, "These cars gave me purpose, but they deserve to inspire the next generation, not collect dust behind locked doors." It is a noble sentiment, but it is also a heartbreaking admission of defeat. He is clearing out the garage because he knows he won't be down there tinkering until 3 in the morning anymore. What most people don't realize is the logistics of this. This isn't just selling a used Honda. We are talking about Duesenbergs, McLarens, steam cars from the 1900s. Dismantling this collection is a massive legal and logistical undertaking. His team likely tried to stop the announcement because once you say "I am selling," the sharks start circling. Values fluctuate. It becomes a circus. But Jay wanted to control the narrative. He wanted to make sure the cars went to places that would use them to teach, not just to billionaires who would lock them in a vault. And that is putting it lightly. The decision to donate rather than sell for profit tells you everything about where Jay's head is at. He doesn't need the money, he needs the peace. He wants to settle his affairs so that Mavis isn't left dealing with 300 cars and 1,000 motorcycles when he is gone. It is a morbid thought, but a practical one. Jay is cleaning house. He is simplifying his life down to the essentials: his wife, his health, and his memories. The rumor mill is already spinning about which cars are going where. The McLaren F1? Probably the Peterson Museum. The steam cars? Maybe a specialized institute. But the act of giving them up is symbolic. Those cars were his armor. They were his escape from the pressures of Hollywood. By giving them up, Jay is stepping out of the garage and into the real world, fully exposed for the first time. He is shedding the identity of the car guy to just be Jay. This move also secures his legacy in a different way. He isn't just the comedian who hoarded cars, he is the benefactor who saved automotive history for the public. It shifts the narrative from consumption to contribution. But it still hurts to watch. Seeing Jay stand in that garage looking at the machines he spent thousands of hours polishing and saying goodbye, it is the end of an era. It is the moment the music stops and the lights go up. However, there is one car he refuses to let go of. The letter that leaked. But wait, it gets deeper. Jay isn't just fading to black without one last word. During the broadcast, he teased a final project, something he has been secretly filming while the world thought he was just hiding out. It is a documentary, tentatively titled The Last Ride. And this isn't your typical shiny cars and celebrity guests show. This is raw. This is unfiltered. This is the footage his PR team was terrified of. The documentary reportedly features scenes of Jay during his recovery, bandaged, in pain, struggling to hold a wrench. It shows the vulnerability he hid from the Tonight Show cameras. It is a visual diary of a man coming to terms with his own mortality. He wanted to show the ugly side of recovery to prove that it is okay to be weak, that it is okay to hurt. It is a massive departure from his brand of clean, safe comedy. It is gritty and real. And get this, there is a memoir coming with it. Sources say Jay has been writing in a journal since the fire, documenting his thoughts on fame, regret, and life. A leaked excerpt from this journal recently surfaced, and it is powerful stuff. He wrote about missing birthdays, missing dinners, sacrificing his personal life for the applause of strangers. He wrote, "I told myself it was for the fans. Maybe it was, but somewhere along the way I stopped being present in my own life." That is a gut punch. It is the confession of a man who realizes that fame is a currency you cannot spend in the afterlife. The documentary focuses on the restoration of one final car, the first car he ever bought, a 1934 Ford. It is the car he slept in when he was homeless and trying to make it as a comic. It is the car that started it all. By restoring this specific vehicle, he is closing the loop. He is going back to the beginning. The film supposedly ends with him taking it for one last drive into the sunset. A cinematic goodbye that feels final in a way that is almost uncomfortable. Mavis plays a huge role in this final chapter too. For decades, she has been the silent partner, the one staying out of the limelight. But in The Last Ride, she speaks. She talks about the fear of losing him, the stubbornness that kept him working, and the relief of finally having her husband back. It paints a picture of a marriage that survived the insanity of Hollywood. Jay's decision to air this serious detail, his health struggle, was likely driven by a desire to honor her, to show her that he is finally listening, finally stopping. The crazy thing is, the audience isn't ready for this version of Jay. We want the chin, the denim shirt, the jokes. We aren't ready for the frail, reflective, wise old man. But Jay knows that. He knows this is a shock. That is why he did it live. That is why he bypassed the press releases. He wanted to look us in the eye and tell the truth, even if it hurt. He is taking control of his own ending, writing the final page before anyone else can do it for him. So do you think Jay is making the right call by donating the collection, or should he keep it in the family? It's a tough one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives. Catch you next time.